Emily from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, March 18th. Okay, so we have the moon in Scorpio energy here all day, so things are definitely intense. We have a lot of water energy in the elemental energy profile. We are in the final days of Pisces season, that old astrological calendar, and this moon in Scorpio is definitely pushing us into the depths of darkness. Now, that being said, it is for a great purpose. We do have to face some of the fears, doubts, insecurities still lingering from the old version of self, from the old realm, the old reality, prior to us shifting into a brand new karmic chapter. Of course, coming at us here this week when the sun shifts into Aries energy, triggering the equinox, resetting the karmic scales. Now, of course, it is not fun to have the moon in Scorpio because we're going through a major change, a major transformation, but we have to go to the depths of our darkness, the depths of our soul and our spirit in order for that change to actually take place. Now, that being said, there are 10 different aspects taking place here today. All 10 involve the moon, which means that we're having a moon day in Scorpio energy. That moon day is a day for emotional refinement, realignment, and of course, the whole purpose of the moon in Scorpio is to turn that darkness into light, to turn the pain into power. So we're definitely going through it. Jumping into the day, we have the moon in Scorpio energy making a beautiful interaction with Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, currently retrograde in Aries energy. This is going to be a major heart activation. If you need to go back, take a listen to this week's Ascension forecast. Definitely do that to stay ahead of the Ascension game. And of course, jump over to my Patreon to get the day-by-day play-by-play on the Ascension symptoms popping off due to the astrology. And again, just a reminder, there is a weekly Ascension guide that you can download to stay ahead of the game as well. Of course, get in front of all of the things. Now, the moon in Scorpio energy, deep depth, where emotions are concerned. Venus in the depths of her darkness, going through this deep purge. She's realizing where it is that there are certain endings, closures needed with certain thoughts, certain feelings, certain values, certain relationships, certain routines. Again, doing the same old thing, expecting different results is the definition of insanity. And because we're going through this major glow up, this major pivot point where our worth, our values, our physical realm is concerned, we have to lean into what isn't working in order to figure out how to make things better. So this is a realization of our wants, needs, desires, of what we need to do in order to get it. And typically speaking, this is an intense heart activation, realizing what we need to let go of in order to have the time, energy, and effort to pour into the things that we want more of. The moon in Scorpio then going to make a very uncomfortable interaction with the North Node in Pisces energy. Yes, this is water on water action, but it's an uncomfortable interaction, which means that things are going to get a little bit stormy. That North Node trying to get us on the right path, trying to get us in alignment with our mission, with our purpose, with our future. We are having a hard time at this particular point because we realize that there are more endings and closures needed than there are beginnings actually taking place. And because of this, we're kind of fixated on what we don't want to let go of, even though we've outgrown it. It is going to require us to kind of boss up, do the hard things that we're not feeling well equipped or well prepared to do at this particular moment. And so we're not really seeing the challenges that we're currently kind of beating our head against the wall about as options and opportunities for growth and for evolvement. We're looking at them kind of as a punishment, as a roadblock. And of course, that isn't the best perspective to have. It's a natural perspective to have. But of course, this is putting us in a situation where we're having a hard time being positive, seeing that forest past the trees. We have the moon in Scorpio making the same type of uncomfortable interaction, this time with the sun in Pisces. Again, we're in the final degrees, the final days of Pisces season. Yes, this is water on water action, but again, things are getting stormy. We're getting rained upon. This is hurricane emotional type of weather. Anytime that the sun and the moon are coming together, there's going to be an aha moment. There's going to be a light bulb moment, an emotional awareness of what we want, what we need, what we desire. and what we have to do to get it. But because this is an uncomfortable interaction, we're probably going to be illuminated to what it is that we don't want, what we don't need, what we don't desire, and therefore that realization of what we have to do to get rid of those particular things going to help us kind of plan for an alternative, plant the seed, if you will, for new goals, new visions, new dreams. Now, this is a lot of shadow work. We're not going to pretend that this is light and fluffy. It is definitely not. We are kind of being thrown in the deepest part of the pool, the deepest part of that emotional ocean that we are getting very exhausted treading water in. And so again, there is a lot going on. It is very pressure filled. We are all over the place with our emotions. And again, things are a little bit more dark than we would prefer. The moon in Scorpio then going to make a very uncomfortable interaction with Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings, of course, in Gemini energy. We have a lot coming at us right now, and it's being magnified. So the darkest parts, the negative narratives, the darker parts of our emotions, the things that aren't working, that is being magnified to an extent that we're not even able to see the good things, the things that are working, the things that we are kind of building upon. And because Jupiter usually brings the optimism, usually brings the hype with a good interaction, this is kind of the negative part of that. Everything feels a lot bigger than it actually is. The intensity is turned all the way up to the max. We are not seeing the growth. We're not seeing the evolution because, again, we're stuck in the darkest parts of ourselves, examining the pain and trauma, examining those negative thoughts, those negative emotions, and it's all a little bit too much. The moon in Scorpio then going to make a very uncomfortable interaction to Neptune. Neptune, of course, in his rulership in Pisces energy, in the 29th degree of this Pisces energy, which of course is no joke. This is going to put us in a situation where we're overwhelmed, we're overstimulated, where literally we just want to curl up in a ball and cry. And that doesn't feel good. It's putting us in a situation where we're kind of disconnected, not only from our reality, but from our intuition, from our higher self. Again, we're kind of focused on the things that aren't working, the things that are causing us the greatest challenge, the greatest amount of pain and discomfort. And that can be very overwhelming, overstimulating. And again, we just want to escape in some kind of way, numb ourselves to the intensity that is definitely taking over in these final days of Pisces season. We get a little tiny bit of help here because the moon in Scorpio is going to make a very positive interaction with Mercury. Mercury being the ruler of the mental plane. Of course, he's retrograde, so there's a lot of reflection, there's a lot of revision, there's a lot of reassessing going on. He's retrograde in Aries energy, which is definitely fire. We're definitely spicy. We definitely just want to burn down the world that is no longer serving us, burn through the cords of attachment that are keeping us stuck in the past. However, the moon being our heart space, Mercury being our head space, we're trying to get on the same page with the endings and closures that are needed in order to free us up, to pour our time, our energy, our attention, our effort into building something new. And so, although communication is not the greatest, although our headspace is not functioning at its highest capacity, we are definitely seeing things from a different lens. We are definitely seeing things from a different perspective. And because of that, we are starting to get a little bit more organized in our thoughts and in our emotions. Now, we also get a little bit of help here because the moon in Scorpio is going to trine, which is a beautiful interaction with Mars. Mars being a co-ruler over the Scorpio energy, this is going to be intense. Mars being the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire, even our anger, still retracing his steps in this Cancer energy. A trine means that this is water on water action. So this water is going to come and pour over us, cleansing us, purifying us, trying to remove some of the junk and gunk that we've been sitting in. Even more than that, the water energy is going to refresh, renew our soul and our spirit, realign us with our intuition, remind us of what we're actually fighting for. And because Mars is that warrior type of spirit, we are definitely tapping into a boldness, a bravery, a courage that we've been lacking over the last little bit that we definitely need right now to rise up, to do the hard things, which of course are the right things for us to do, to break away from the past, to stabilize our emotions and our inner realm so that we can get hella focused, hell bent, damn well and determined in order to make the greatest change needed, in order for us to again close the door on the past and start working, building towards something new. The moon in Scorpio then going to make a very uncomfortable interaction with Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, of course, retrograde in this Aries energy. So we started the day off with a positive interaction, with a realization of what we want, need, and desire, where our heart space is changing, where our values, our priorities are changing, with what it is that we want to build in our physical realm. This, of course, is an uncomfortable interaction. So now we're second guessing what we thought we knew earlier in the day, what we thought we were kind of ready to pursue, what we thought we kind of were ready to put behind us. And of course, all of this energy is just crashing down upon us here in the final days of Pisces season, really kind of tossing us back and forth, up and down and all around in this emotional ocean that we are just tired of treading water in. And because of this, we are starting to kind of second guess ourselves in every department of our lives, which of course doesn't feel good. However, we can learn a lot about what it is that we're resisting, what it is that we're fearful about, what it is that we've actually outgrown by leaning into the discomfort, especially with where our heart space is kind of leading us to see where the endings and closures are needed the most. The moon in Scorpio then going to make a very positive interaction with Pluto. Pluto, of course, rules over the Scorpio energy, and Pluto, the great transformer, is in Aquarius energy. So we are going to boss up in our emotions. We are going to get a grip over our headspace, over our feelings, over the, I'm going to call it spiraling narrative that many of us probably are going to be in for this particular day. This is going to show us where it is that we have the ability to take power and control back in our inner realm, kind of show us what we have power and control over in our external realm, where it is that, again, there is a major shift, a major change, a major transformation taking place in our lives. And of course, that change needs to start in our inner realm first and foremost. The last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in Scorpio energy making a very uncomfortable interaction with Chiron, that wounded healer in Aries energy. So this is going to be shadow work at its finest. We are sitting in our wounds. We're sitting in our pain. We're sitting in our trauma. We're second guessing ourselves. We are not feeling strong. We're not feeling like we are capable of doing all of the things that we know inside of us we need to do in order to break away from the old world, the old realm, the old reality, the old identity that, of course, we've been trying very hard to kind of disconnect, detach from, and put behind us. This is going to put us in a situation where we're not seeing the silver linings. We're not seeing the positives. We're not seeing ourselves in the truest light because, again, we are basically picking all of the scabs off of our wounds and whining about the fact that they are now being re-exposed to the air, to the world around us. This is an ego check. This isn't supposed to feel good. This is supposed to kind of throw us again into the depths of our darkness so that we can sit there, acknowledge it, integrate those tough love life lessons, and then make the choice to rise up and rise above. Is it fun? No. Is it easy? Absolutely not. Is it part of the process? 100%, because of course, we're moving into tomorrow. We are going to be shifting into Sagittarius energy, which is definitely going to bring that light back, especially at the end of this very dark tunnel that the moon in Scorpio always pushes us through. And it is going to be the last day of Pisces season. It is also going to be the last day of the old astrological calendar. So intensity is definitely the name of the game. Emotional transformation, definitely the name of the game as well. And of course, us being humans, we only change when things get hella uncomfortable.